Okay, we're officially live. Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. Welcome to my live stream. This week's kind of a light earnings week. We do got Nike reporting earnings. According to my data, they report at 4:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll see. So we might have like 15 minutes to burn here. You see SPY and QQQ ran into the close. Nice little rally after chopping all day. I mean, they were basically trading like in a $1.50 range for most of the day. And then after lunchtime, around 2 p.m. Eastern, went on a nice rally. Kind of interesting with the looming government shutdown. There's actually a countdown for that. Let's pull up the countdown so we know the time that we have left for Democrats and Republicans to come to an agreement about money. That's basically what it is. And yeah, I'll just go up the Federal News Network here. And yep, here's the countdown, just so everyone knows. Here, I'll put this link in the comments of the chat here. Anyone wants to follow the countdown, if you will. You can see right here, countdown to shutdown. 7 hours, 58 minutes, and 50 seconds. So, that's how much time that they have to come to an agreement to prevent a shutdown. But since we have a little bit of time to burn here, let's just go over a few things with Nike. So earnings whispers say 4:15 p.m. Eastern is when they report. The forecast EPS 0.27 and the forecast revenue 10.98 billion. I know revenue is going to be what investors are looking at here, and then of course guidance. But with any retailer, it's going to be all eyes on revenue, and then guidance for revenue. So let me see if I can find. I want to look for the implied move here. Polymarket, according to Unusual Whales, Polymarket says there's an 81% chance that Nike beats quarterly earnings. Also, my buddy Shai Valor on X actually is 88% of beating earnings today. Good information to know as far as forecasts. And Nike made a little bit of progress, but we're still going to see sales down year over year. That's from a UBS analyst, Jay Soul. Let me look at a few other things. This is a quick look at their annual chart. Anchored VWAPs just below like 75 a share. They were trading around 70 today. Let me go back to trading view real quick. I'm just going to put Nike on the right side here. Nike, there we go. Okay, already getting some volatility here. Look at that. Are those wicks on Webull as well? Let me see. We go to Nike. And then if we got time, I'll definitely show everyone all my open positions that I have open right now. I got 5 open trades right now. So I'll let everyone, of course I trade options, so I'll let everyone know what those stocks are and the expiration dates, the strike prices, all that good stuff. Nike getting some volatility going into this earnings. This is a 2-hour chart. Let me go 1 minute. So yeah, wicked up to 71.50, then wicked down to 68.69. Take a little sip of water real quick. Actually just got off a spread trading stream where we live trade spreads. So if we got some time, I'll let everyone know what that was. And of course, if you want to get these trades in real time, definitely check out our Discord. There's links in the description. You can even just join the free section and see how you like the free section and go from there. But back to Nike. Bit of volatility. That was right after the regular session bell rang, of the closing bell. Went up to 71.50, then down to 68.69, and then closed right here. Right around 69. Well, it closed the regular session at 69.75. So just waiting on the data. Let's look at a few other things. I like going to tip ranks and kind of looking at this info. This is all free information here. Here, I'll post this link here. Always like any websites that are free that can give us some historical data. I'm all about that. Michelle says, you sell anything on Nike for earnings? No, I don't really trade earnings unless I do like a inverse iron condor or something like that. But no, I don't really trade through earnings. It's too risky. You're basically gambling if you do that. So, you know, no offense to anyone who trades through earnings, but you know, of course you could do a lotto, you know, take some profit from a previous trade and do a Hail Mary or something, zero or hero. That's fine. But yeah, I don't, you know, I'm more of a conservative trader, and I try not to take too much risk if I don't have to. So no, I am not biased on Nike. I do not have an open position on Nike whatsoever. So we're just going to sit here as a third party and look and see what the reaction is going to be. Now, Nike's been downtrending since they paid their dividend. That was earlier this month. September 2nd, they paid a 40-cent per share dividend. And Nike pays quarterly, I believe. Yeah, September and then June. And then they paid one in March. So quarterly dividend. They do got quite the gap on the downside. That's just sitting there. You know, if they get a negative reaction to earnings, I would think that this gap's going to get resolved. That's what gaps are. Kind of unresolved price action, if you will. Market makers like to go resolve that. So they got, you know, gap down to like 62.50. If they get a negative reaction, that's going to be my support level number one. Let me put a horizontal line right at the bottom of that gap because they're kind of already in gap fill territory. Let me see, Tuesday, Wednesday. So last Friday, you could see they wicked down to about $68. That was a little bit below the top of the gap. So they kind of already breached the gap. And then Monday, and then today, I mean, it does look like there's some buyers trying to buy the dip. You can tell from these bottom wicks here, but not really with a lot of momentum or force. Just a little bit of buying there, but let's go back intraday, 1 minute chart. Yep, still nothing. It's 4:07 p.m. And let's look and see what their previous reactions were to their previous earnings. Just scroll down a little bit. This was from their last earnings when they did their earnings call on June 25th. Just a couple of highlights from their last earnings. Nike wins now, actions and realignment, improvements in Nike's order book, strategic partnership with Amazon. That was kind of a big deal, their last earnings. But, you know, if you go to the daily chart, let's go back to their, that partnership with Amazon probably created that gap in the first place. And that was from June, this past June. They gapped up on that news from that they, you know, with the Amazon partnership right here. Nike announced a new partnership with Amazon to carry a select assortment of footwear, apparel, and accessories, contributing to the integrated marketplace strategy. So very positive reaction to last earnings. And here you can see the last 4 earnings here. I'll put a screenshot of this in the Discord chat if anyone wants to look at this. And you can see the last earnings, they were up over 15% one day after they announced. And of course, that was the gap that we saw. The earnings before that in March, they were down about 5.5%. And then when they reported in December, they were basically flat the next day. October earnings was red. So coming off of a nice positive reaction from their last earnings on June 26th. So we'll see what their reaction is going to be here. We'll go back to trading view, looking like SPY, pulling back a little bit in after hours, but if you zoom out in the grand scheme of things, it's still sitting way up here. Trading just above 665 in post market right now, SPY is. Nike, we're still waiting on the data. As soon as I get it, I will definitely release that to everybody. Almost 4:10 p.m. So we might have about 5 more minutes, and then we should get the data for Nike. So I got the 1 minute chart on the right here on TradingView pulled up. I'll leave that up while we're awaiting the reaction. And let me look at a few other things. People on X saying if it's a positive reaction, we should see 75 plus. Go back to Webull just for a second as I got my volume profile on there. So I got, my support level number 1, if they get a negative reaction, it's right around 62.50. That's the bottom of the gap. If they get a negative reaction, the rest of this gap's going to get filled, and it'll probably get filled pretty quickly. So that's going to be my support level number 1. Support level number 2 on the bigger time frame. I suppose we could put that around 55 a share. You see this little volume node sticking out here. So it was good amount of volume that came in around the mid 50s. So support level number 1 on Nike, if they get a negative reaction, 62.50. And then support level number 2, if there's continuation for whatever reason, the mid 50s. Those are the levels I'd be looking at. 4:11 p.m. So we got about 4 more minutes. Wow, almost 1,500 people joining this stream. Know we got a big presence on X. Of course, we're streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So syndicated to quite a few social media platforms there. But yeah, welcome everyone. My name's the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. And if you're looking for a new home, definitely check out our Discord. Links in the description. But back to Nike. So we got 2 levels on the downside for support that I'd be looking at if they get a negative reaction. If they get a positive reaction, you can clearly see on this volume profile here, and this is price action dating back from March. So this is like 6 months of price action. And you can clearly see this volume shelf sticking out here right around 74 bucks. So that would need to be mitigated before any more upside from there. But yeah, I'd probably put my resistance level number 1 around 74. And then resistance level number 2, I'm just going to call it 80 bucks. So let me put those levels on there. Probably do, yeah, like right here, like a little bit below 74. And then basically this little double top action here, right around 79 to 80. 80 would be pretty safe, I think, for resistance level or level to take profit or scale out. Not financial advice, just kind of what I would do. But you can see going into this earnings, it's kind of stuck on the top side of this gap. It was there last Friday. It kind of breached it, recovered a little bit yesterday and today, nonetheless, still printed red candles. But, it's kind of in a decision-making place on the chart, if you will, with this gap right here. And you can see from the volume profile, there's a big gap in the profile here. So if it loses, 68 bucks, there's not much really holding it up as far as previous volume that came in over this period of time. So it'll probably be like a little magnet down to here. Zoom out a little bit more, make it a little straighter. But yeah, you can kind of see for yourself what's going on there. So let me go 1 minute chart. Still waiting. Everyone's patiently waiting for the Nike earnings data. It's 4:13 p.m. Eastern. They're supposed to report at 4:15. So just another few minutes and we'll get their reaction. I suppose while we're waiting on that, I'll go over a spread trade I opened up right before the regular session ended. We did a bullish put spread. It's kind of the slang term for it. Technical term would be a vertical put credit spread. And we're actually coming off of a win on OSCR, so we're kind of double dipping on this, which I don't mind. I still like the setup that it had. But let me just go back to the spread trade we did last week. I opened up 1 week ago from today. This is on the Discord here. But this was the setup from last week. We sold the $17 put, so sell to open on that one, and then buy to open on the 16 put strike. I did have October 3rd expiration. This is the trade from last week. A $1 wide spread. So for each spread, your broker's going to put $100 on hold while the trade's open, right? That'd be the width of the spread. But it pays $30 a spread. So you gotta think that that's a 30% return on the capital you're tying up, right? I usually like to target 20% or more on these spread trades as far as credit spreads go. That's just what I like to target when I'm opening these trades. And this one from last week paid 30%. So I was happy with that. And basically, we just needed OSCR to stay above $16.70 by the expiration. And this would be a winning trade. And the 16.70, that'd be your break even at expiration. And that's another thing I do in the Discord. I teach everyone spreads, how to trade them, how to manage them. Of course, how to open them, how to manage them, and how to close them if you want to take profit, or if you need to stop out. There's different management techniques we can implement for risk management on these things, because you never want these, if these spreads go against you, you never want to take the max loss. So there's some creative ways that we can put some risk management in place to ensure we stay at a 1-to-1 risk reward. And then, of course, you can use your break even at expiration as a solid stop loss level too. But with that said, this trade opened up last Tuesday at 3:16 p.m. Eastern, and I alerted it to the group in real time when I entered. The very next day, I had 50% on the table. So I'm the type, let's put it this way. This spread had about 2 weeks of time on it. Right? It was all last week, and then all this week was the amount of time until expiration. If I get 50% of my max gain in one trading day, why would I hold it for almost 2 weeks for the other half? I mean, it just makes sense when looking at the calendar, right? Of how much time is left, how much time has gone by, and then the other part of the equation is how much profit's on the table. And if you have a spread that has 2 weeks of time on it, and you get half of your profit in one day, doesn't it make sense to go ahead and take that? And we can take the easy money. We can go ahead and back that profit up and pocket it. And then we can just move on about our day. And we can look for a new opportunity, and we'll be able to enter more spreads in the same period of time as the expiration amount of time on that spread had, right? So this had 2 weeks. I took 50% in one day. I can enter a new spread for a new opportunity, more times than just staying in that one trade for 2 weeks. So you got to think about, I get that question asked a lot too. Like, I got profit on the table. Does it make sense to take that profit? Well, you just need a few pieces of data to be able to answer your own question. And number one, how much time you got left on the contract. Number two, how much time has gone by since you entered it. And number three, how much profit you got on the table. And once you get the data to those three things, you should be able to figure out if it makes sense to take profit or not. All right. So just a little explanation there on, when and if and when you should be taking profit on these, and I can definitely help people out with deciding that. Not financial advice, just my opinion and what I would do if I was in the trade. And then, of course, we opened up a new trade today. So I'm going back in on OSCR. This time we got $35 a credit. So that's 35% potential return on capital. Oh, damn, it's 418. I'm missing Nike. All right, I got kind of sidetracked there going over my spreads, but let's go back to Nike because their data's out, and I know everyone's here for Nike. About 1,700 people tuning in. Welcome, everybody. My name's the Swinging Bull with PB Alerts for anyone that's just joining. And photo, I can't even pronounce that on Discord. He said, earnings are out. Dude, why are you not talking about Nike? I apologize. I kind of went on a tangent there. So sorry, I wasn't quick enough for you. The earnings were released 4 minutes ago. So let me see if I can get some data for everyone. I'll get EPS revenue, any guidance. Then we'll find out when they're exactly doing their earnings web call. in how to get there. Okay. But yeah, Nike's a little green. It's up 3.5%. It's not really doing anything crazy. It's up about $3 a share. There is some buying coming in. So it does look good for the bulls so far. And we get EPS revenue and any guidance. It's about 4:20 p.m. Eastern. And of course, any of the free members in the Discord, you ready to make a change? You ready to level up? Join the premium. Join the premium. Okay. A lot of people just hang out in free, and you'd be better off in premium. You'd make more money. Anyways. All right, Nike earnings are out. I got a nice little graphic for everybody. Let me just let me see if I can. I'm gonna go to Trading View actually, because we can look at this graphic and look at the price action at the same time. Let's see. Okay, I'll keep Nike's price on the right, specifically for my buddy on Discord, Photo Pop Flop. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that, but this is for you, brother. I got the Nike's earnings price action on the right. I'll leave it up there specifically for you. So here's the EPS. The forecast was 0.27. They just reported 0.49. They beat EPS by 81%. Holy smokes. That's a solid EPS beat. Revenue forecast 10.99 billion. They just reported 11.72 billion. So they beat that by 7%. Now the year over year for EPS is down 30%. So that's not really good, but that's okay. They beat the forecasts by a ton. Revenue was up 1% year over year. Quarter over quarter, EPS was up 250%. Revenue was up 6% quarter over quarter. So just some info about the year over year and quarter over quarter numbers. I'm going to drag this back over. Hold on one second. All right, let me drag this back over. So Nike did have a positive reaction. It came up to, now this was at, right when the earnings reported, they did have a bit more volatility. So it did wick up to 74.26 after it wicked down to 68.51. Obviously, it closed up here. I'm thinking I could probably put a fib on this just to see where the retracement levels are. Let's take a look. I'm not going to count this bottom wick because that's not really was the real move there. But I think I'll draw it from here to here. I think would be good. So you can see it pulled back to the golden fib ratio here, kind of chopped around a little bit, then made a move up back to the 25% retrace, now coming down. Let's see if it maybe tries to form a higher low. Let's see, 71.60. That's probably where I'd have my support as far as post-market price action goes. Support level number 2, I'd probably put that at $71. So just like a $1 range, really. But it seems to be holding up above the EMAs so far. And let me see if I can get some commentary from the CEO and the CFO and see what they got to say. And then also, I definitely want to make sure I can find out how to get to the earnings web call, because it's probably going to be around 5 p.m. Eastern when they do that. But I'll definitely figure that out for everybody. And they did have a double beat with forecasts. It's pulling back now, almost retraced 100%. Look at that. So getting some indecision going on with Nike. I wonder if they messed with the guidance or anything like that. Let me go here. Okay, earnings. I'm gonna post this. Hopefully it doesn't get all jumbled up on my screen. Give it 1 second to populate. Oh, I'm not seeing my comment in there. That's okay. I'll keep moving. All right, so initial positive reaction, then it had a negative reaction. Just trying to bounce at the after hours low right now, around 68.50. We'll see if that level holds. See if you can start reclaiming some of these levels here. Okay, is it going to let me paste this data? Let me see. Okay, just having a little issues posting comments on here. That's okay. We don't need it. I was just going to put the EPS and revenue on the bottom of my screen, but I'm having some issues with StreamYard, so that's okay. All right, let's find out when their earnings web call is, because I know that's what everyone wants to know. I'm just going to go straight to their investor relations page, and we'll get that. Investor relations. Okay. All right, let's take a look here. All right, I'm going to pull this over. I'll leave Nike's price on the right for everyone. And let's take a look. All right, I probably want to go to, let's take a look at this. Okay, news, events, and reports. That's going to be it right there. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Here it is right here. If you want to dig deeper into their earnings data, as far as EPS, revenue, and stuff like that, just come here. I'm going to post this link in the, I'll post the short link first because it's easy to get here. Let me go back one more. Nike, yeah, this is fine here. And hopefully the comments are showing up. But if not, that's okay. So it's investors.nike.com. That's how you get there, okay? Let's go back to news, events, and reports. So again, once you get here, just go to investor news, and then you can probably be a PDF you can download, and let's actually click on that just real quick, because yeah, this is the commentary from the CEO and maybe the CFO, but right here. This quarter, Nike drove progress through our win now actions in our priority areas of North America, wholesale and running, said Elliott Hill, President and CEO of Nike. While we're getting wins under our belt, we still have work ahead to get all sports geographies and channels on similar paths as we manage in a dynamic operating environment. I'm confident that we have the right focus and win now, and that our new alignment in the sports offense will be the key to maximizing Nike. That was said by the CEO. And the CFO says, I'm encouraged by the momentum we generated in the quarter, but progress will not be linear as dimensions of our business recover on different timelines. That was said by Matthew Friend, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. And he also says, while we navigate several external headwinds, our teams are focused on executing against what we can control. All right, so kind of some mixed signals there, kind of almost hinting that there's some things out of their control, which of course there is, like tariffs and stuff like that. But the revenues were 11.7 billion, up 1%. And let's see here, Nike direct revenues were 4.5 billion, wholesale revenues 6.8 billion, revenues for Converse were 366 million. So those that don't know, Nike owns Converse. All right, so let's find out where, let me go here to their events and presentations. Here we go. This will tell us when their earnings web call is. So let me just waiting for Nike's website to load here. Okay, let me pull this aside while that's loading. Okay, here we go. There's a lot of people on Nike's website right now trying to figure out when this web call is. So here it is here, Q1 fiscal year 2026 earnings call, okay? And you just click on that. And yes, it's at 5 p.m. Eastern. So right here, straight from the horse's mouth, straight from Nike's website. 5 p.m. Eastern, and then there's a little webcast hyperlink you can click on that'll let you into the web call. So again, that's not for another 30 minutes. Nike's basically back to where it closed the regular session at. So again, the initial move was positive. Then it retraced more than 100% of that pump, and now it's come back up a little bit. It's very interesting. Do you remember that level on the bigger time frame we were looking at? And I drew that white line. That's what this white line is right here. I didn't draw this white line on this 1 minute chart. I drew it on the daily chart. Look where the price got rejected from. Isn't that interesting? So folks, don't be so glued to the smaller time frames. Pull out the bigger time frames daily chart, even weekly, maybe monthly sometimes, and plot some lines out. And that way, when you go to the smaller time frames, those lines will be there, and you can put some good weight on those levels on the bigger time frames, because that's obviously, you know, good supply and demand levels there from when there was a lot of sellers or perhaps a lot of buyers, which would be demand. And look how beautifully it lines up. You know, so far got rejected at 73.50 around there, and that was the level I pulled from the bigger time frame. So let's see if it can make an attempt to get back up there and kind of go from there. Now, just on price action, going back to, let me see here. Yeah, this was right around 345, about 45 minutes of price action. The bulk of the volume came in here right below 70 bucks a share. So that could probably be a good support, you know, for the remainder of after hours. Of course, when they do their earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern, there could be a secondary move. All right. But so far, it really hasn't done anything. I mean, I know there's been some volatility. It rallied and then sold off and then kind of came back to baseline from before it rallied. It's basically not doing anything, though. It's trading around 70 bucks a share, just above where it closed the regular session at. So we're probably going to have to wait for the earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern to see if they're going to talk a little bit more about guidance and see if there's going to be like a secondary move. Okay. But with that said, I mean, we got the data. They did have a double beat. They pulled net income of 727 million. They did show some wholesale strength and North American growth, offset softness in Greater China. So that's good. And let's look at a few other things just real quick. All right, I want to see. We already went over some CEO and CFO commentary, so we got that. Nike brand digital was down 12% year over year, so that's not really good. Also, the revenue from Converse, it came in at 366 million, but that's down 27% year over year on the Converse section of their business. That's not good for year over year numbers. Not good at all. So maybe that's why it, you know, sold off after it had the initial positive reaction, and now it's just kind of trading flat compared to where it closed at. So again, going to have to wait for the upper management to kind of explain things a little more thoroughly at their earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then maybe investors will finally pick a direction for the stock and it starts going somewhere. Now, a couple highlights though, as far as capital returns, dividends, 591 million. That is up 6% year over year, and there's been 23 consecutive years of dividend increases. Isn't that funny? 23 consecutive years of dividend increases. Guess what 23 reminds me of? Good old Michael Jordan, right? Of course, his shoes. That's funny, just a coincidence. My MJ number 23, and they reported 23 consecutive years of dividend increases. Also, they have an ongoing share repurchase program, $123 million, which equates to 1.8 million shares. That's how much they repurchased, that they reported for this earnings. And there's 12.1 billion repurchased to date. The total share repurchase program is $18 billion worth of shares. So they've already repurchased about $12 billion worth of that 18 billion. So they still have a $6 billion worth of shares left to repurchase. All right. So again, the price is flat. They did double beat. Some of the line items on their earnings report are negative year over year numbers, which is not what we want to see. But nonetheless, they did double beat. So they beat the forecasts. They still have an ongoing share repurchase program going on, and they've increased their dividend 23 consecutive years in a row. So pretty solid. But again, there's not much going on with the price right now. It's flat. You got to wait about another 25 minutes for their earnings web call. So now that we got their earnings data out of the way, and we did get a reaction, again, initial positive reaction, but then it sold off over 100% retrace to the downside from that rally. And now it's kind of just trading right above where it closed at. Let's see if it starts building positive momentum for the remainder of after hours. And then, of course, when they do their earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern, maybe there's a move there. But what we're looking for this to gain traction is just see if the RSI starts trending up along with the price action. We don't want to see any bearish divergence on the RSI or anything like that. And perhaps maybe it starts making some higher lows. And then maybe, it's the bulls are onto something here. And it could start trending up and retracing some of these selling levels that just had. Technically, it is green in after hours, though. It's up 2%, about $1.50 a share around there. And it looks like there is a little bit of buying coming in right now. So keep your eye on it. But now that we've got Nike's earnings reaction, at least the initial reaction, a little bit of volatility here and there. Now that that's kind of out of the way, now we just kind of wait and see if there's going to be a secondary move when they do the earnings web call. So anyways, back to what I was talking about earlier. I did open a new OSCR spread today. I sold the $18 put and I bought the $17 put. Formed a $1 wide spread, which is worth $100. I always do a handful of these when I do it. But it got 35% potential return on capital on the spread I opened up this afternoon. I did alert this to the Discord members in real time. So if you're interested in getting the alerts in real time, just join the Discord. And if you do join, tag me in the chat. I go by the Swinging Bull. I'll come by and say what's up. And maybe we can talk for a little bit. Chance of profit, just about 70% on this trade. So I like the little edge we got there. And we'll see how it performs. We're not really married to the trade because it expires next Friday, October 10th. All right, so just got to wait the rest of this week and then next week. And if OSCR makes a nice move up, we won't even have to hold it till October 10th. We'll have the bulk of the profit on the table before expiration, and I'll probably just take early profits, what I normally do. Let me share with everybody one of my accounts here, and I do have 4 open positions right now. Let me actually make sure my account number is taken off. All right, just had to do that. So let me, all 4 of my positions are nice and green, but these are the open positions I have right now. All 4 of these are wheel strategy trades. So just a quick peek at my Fidelity account. I got a cash secured put on Bull. I picked a $12 strike that expires October 17th. I just did 1 lot size on that, but I collected $54 a contract when I sold it to open. I'm on the selling side of the opening transaction, and now it's only worth 32. So that's a good thing when you're an option seller, because when you're an option seller, we want the contract to go to 0. That way we pocket the credit we received when we wrote the contract. So this one's up 41%. I got a cash secured put open on Ford. I did 2 lot size on that one, up 48% on that one. I got the Mara $16 cash secured put. It's so funny. Look I'm up $22 on all 4 of these. What are the odds of that? So I got a $16 Mara cash secured put. That's up 22%. And then this UMAC trade, I sold the $12 cash secured put. That's also up 22%. So nice and green on all these trades. This represents about $300 worth of income with an expiration date of October 17th. So, and if I get assigned shares on any of these, I'll just jump over to the covered call side and start deploying covered calls and be reducing my cost basis on that side as well. As the credit I collect, I can subtract from my cost basis and get a really good idea of what the technical cost basis is. And also that helps us determine what strike to choose for the covered call as well. But anyways, just want to give everyone a little quick peek on the open positions. I do have a 5th open position. I started an account challenge where we're only using the wheel strategy. And I started the account with 2,500. And that account's up almost 10% in just a month and a half. The goal of the account challenge is to beat the S&P annual average by 3x or more. So being up 10% in about 6 weeks, we're well on our way to smashing that goal. But if anyone's interested in following the account challenge that I started, again, I just started the account challenge to kind of prove that you don't need a big account to write contracts. So I'll just show everyone here. This is my X account. And if you want to follow along with the account challenge, give me a follow on X. Also, if you send me a DM on X, I'll send you a 20% off discount code to join my coaching group. I got over 90 people in my coaching group right now. Everyone's making money with me. We're all having a blast. And I have a live session every Monday. And I always have like 4 to 6 open trades going at one time at all times. And as I'm closing down trades for profit, I'm replacing them with new trades. But I like to keep a pipeline of like 4 to 6 trades going at once. That way there's always something going on and we're always making money. So anyways, follow me on X, shoot me a DM. I'll send you a 20% off code if you want to join my coaching. Or if you just want to follow the account challenge, here's a little graphic I made up about a week or so ago. Started with 2,500. As of this was like a week ago, I had it up to $2,739.39, about 9.58% return in 5 weeks. Of course, anyone can make a graphic, but if you scroll down on my X account, you can see the actual trades here. Let me scroll down. Yeah, right here. So that was the last update. So you can see the contracts that I'm writing, the expiration dates and the strike prices, how much credit I'm getting, and how much of a debit I pay to close them out if I take early profit. But this consists of, on this wheel account challenge, I've had 7 trades and there's been 7 winners. So far the account challenge is undefeated with these trades. Of course, I have an open trade on the account challenge right now. That's the 8th trade. That expires on Friday. So I'll be updating the account challenge on my X account and in the Discord by this Friday. We'll have a fresh update on that. But yeah, that's really all I got for today. Back over to Nike just real quick before I end the stream. Again, it's really not doing much. It is a little bit green. It's up about almost 2%, like 1.7% right now, which equates to like just a little over $1 a share in the green. There was initial positive reaction, then it 100% retraced to the downside. Now it's kind of clawed back up a little bit, slowly but surely. It's trading just above where it closed the regular session. So we're probably not going to get any more action on it until the upper management does their earnings web call, which is at 5 p.m. Eastern. So in about another 20 minutes. I'm personally not going to stream that, but I did put the link for the earnings web call in the comments. Hopefully that went through. And if you go to that link, it's basically investors.nike.com. That's how you're going to get there. And then you'll be able to watch that earnings web call at 5 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, other than that, that's really all I got for today. My name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. And if you're enjoying the content, I'm trying to grow my social media presence. So feel free to give me a follow on X. And that is where I'm updating the account challenge trades as well. But yeah, other than that, I hope everyone has a fantastic night. And until next time, I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.